Okay, well, I don't know exactly when I suspected that I was depressed, or even understood the symptoms, but it came to a head when I was 28 years old and went through a divorce. I don't know if the divorce happened because I was depressed or if I got depressed because of the divorce, but that's when everything came to a head. And I finally sought my doctor's advice on how I was feeling, and he told me that he suspected that I was clinically depressed, and he referred me to a therapist. That hit me real hard because in our community we don't talk about that. And especially as a black man, and I was raised by the quintessential cowboy. My dad was one of those that, okay, men don't emote. Men don't talk about this stuff. You suck it up and get over it. And so that's what I thought I had to do. And it was killing me, but this is what I was raised with. This is what I believed. And then just that stigma of mental illness in our community. I didn't want to have to deal with that, let alone at the time that I was diagnosed, I was also an outreach pastor, ironically. And the church I was serving in, that's the equivalent of our member care here. And so I was coordinating care for people who were suffering, and I'm going through my own private hell. And that was really hard, not to be able to say something to somebody. I just felt like I would be seen as a hypocrite or insincere about what I was preaching if I actually said something to someone about it, if people knew what I was dealing with. And so I kept it inside. One of my very best friends in the church was a therapist, actually, and I hid it from her. And she was shocked when I finally came forward and said something about it. Walking this thing out, walking with depression is hard. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Making up your mind to just do it. Do you want to just lay here and make excuses, or do you want to progress? Jesus asked the man again, do you want to be made whole? What do you want? And that's how I deal with it every day. And I feel like also as part of my calling to ministry, I have to tell my story, because if God can bring me through it, I owe it to him as a testimony to tell somebody else who's going through the same thing that he can do it for them.